All right, let's settle in. All right, everyone, let's settle in. We're starting a new season today, and I think we're looking at something that's less about a discovery and more about a much-needed software update.
Exactly. Like, the hardware is fine, but the operating system we've been running on for centuries is just full of bugs. It's buggy, it's outdated, and honestly, it's crashing our confidence.
And I'm here for the patch notes. I mean, if we can fix the anxiety about looking normal bug, I'm in.
Let's just get to the text. I've got enough caffeine in me to survive the heavy stuff, but let's not pretend this isn't going to hit some nerves.
Right. We're diving into Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. And Emily, you're actually the author here, so you're literally walking us through your own brain.
It's a little surreal, Seth, but let's look at this opening. I start off with this pretty bold claim. This is why I don't need to see your genitals to tell you that they're normal and healthy. You got all the same parts, just organized in your own unique way.
Wait, all the same parts? That sounds like a Biology 101 lecture, but there's a catch there, right?
It's the organized differently part. It's a homology argument. She is saying the fundamental building blocks are identical.
It's a very Lego way of looking at anatomy. Same bricks, different instruction manual.
Exactly, but the struggle is finding the proof. I write about how I use my anatomy lecture slides to show variety, and I tell this story about searching the internet for these photos. And I find a lot of things, but not what I need.
Let me guess, you were looking for classic anatomical diagrams?
I was looking for diversity. And I tell this story about talking to my friend Camilla, who's an illustrator. She calls me out. She asks, "Seriously, Emily? You're Googling what, like black vulva? At work?"
I mean, she's not wrong. That is a very specific search term for a Tuesday afternoon.
It's a professional necessity, Paco. Leave her alone.
But look at what follows. Camilla's point is the real kicker. She points out that if you're white, you can find normal images on Tumblr, but if you're Black, Asian, or Latina, you're stuck with what?
Porn or medical pictures.
Which, let's be honest, are two of the worst places to learn about normalcy. One is a fantasy, and the other is, well, it's a clinical, often dehumanizing view.
Right? It's either superhuman or specimen. Neither one feels like...
And then Camilla drops this heavy concept. She talks about Escher girls.
I know that term. It's from those impossible drawings, right? Where the perspective is all twisted.
Yes. She says these comic book characters have abdomens so flat there's no room for organs, and spines so twisted you can see their boobs and their butt at the same time.
Oh man, I've seen those. It's like physics just gave up.
It's physics, Paco. It's a psychological blueprint. She says, I saw those as a teenager and I felt like that said everything about what a female was supposed to be. And because that wasn't what being female felt like to me, I decided my first identity is geek.
That is a heavy realization. The idea that if the visual standard doesn't match your biological reality, you reject the category entirely. You don't say, I'm a different kind of woman. You just say, I'm not a woman, I'm a geek.
It's about belonging, and that leads into my main thesis here, all the same parts organized in different ways. I argue that this is the most important thing anyone can learn.
Because it's the equalizer?
Precisely. I use this great example of height. The average difference between men and women is only about 6 inches. But the variation within the groups, the difference between the shortest man and the tallest woman, is way larger than the difference between the averages.
It's a statistical way of saying the overlap is where the reality lives. There is more diversity within a gender than there is between the genders.
It's a way to dismantle the us versus them biological narrative. If the overlap is huge, the difference loses its power to categorize you.
So it's about more than the anatomy. It's about the vibe of the parts.
It goes deeper. I end this section with a story about my friend Lori. She's a mom, and she's struggling because her body changed after having her son. She feels like a deflated balloon.
That's a brutal way to describe yourself.
And everyone tried to hit her with the, but you're so beautiful routine, which, as she told me, was the opposite of what she needed. She didn't need a compliment. She needed permission to be sad that her body had changed.
This ties back to what we were saying at the start, the software update. It's not about ignoring the change, it's about accepting the new configuration of the parts.
So, the update isn't about fixing the balloon. It's about learning to navigate the new shape.
Exactly. Whether it's genitalia or the way a body carries the history of motherhood, the parts are the same, the organization has just shifted. And that's still normal. That's still beautiful.
All right, I think I need a drink after that one.
Same here. Let's take a break before we get into the actual mechanics of the dual control model. Okay, so we're moving from the big theoretical, everyone is the same stuff, into something much more practical, much more visceral.
Yeah. Because, let's be real, you can tell someone your body is beautiful 1,000 times, but if they're looking in the mirror and seeing a defect, those words just bounce off.
They don't just bounce. They feel like lies.
Exactly. So I propose an assignment. I call it a change how you see exercise. Step 1, get a hand mirror or use your very phone in selfie mode. Look at your vulva.
Okay, wait, we're actually doing the homework?
We's doing the homework. But here's the rule. You have to make a list of things you like. And when your brain, because it's a jerk, tries to pivot to everything you don't like, you don't include those. You just keep going until the noise gets quieter.
My brain would just give me a blank list and a suggestion to go buy more chocolate.
But look at the psychological mechanism she's tapping into here. She calls it cognitive dissonance. It's forcing the brain to hold two conflicting ideas at once, the cultural shame versus the physical reality you're actually seeing.
And then she adds a second part. This one is, wow. She says, if you have a partner, ask them to look, too. Turn on the light, take off the clothes, and ask them to tell you what they see.
That sounds terrifying.
It is. It's incredibly vulnerable. But the key is the prompt. Ask them to tell you what they feel and what memories they have of your body. You're asking them to participate in the validation.
It's a way to bridge that gap between the private self and the shared self. But I love how she transitions from this very intense physical exercise into a garden.
A garden? Is this a gardening podcast now? I didn't bring my trowel.
No. It's a metaphor. Think about it. She says we're all born with a plot of fertile soil. Different plots, but all fertile.
But the planting isn't up to us.
Right. Your family, your culture, your early environment, they come in and start planting. They plant language, attitudes, knowledge about what's safe and what's pleasurable. Is essentially landscaping your sexual identity before you even have a say in it.
And some of that landscaping is great. Some of it is, well, toxic.
Exactly. You might find you need to uproot some junk and replace it with something you actually chose for yourself.
So the software update we talked about earlier, that's basically just weeding.
That's a perfect way to put it, Paco.
It's also a way to reframe the shame narrative. Because if the bad stuff is just a weed that was planted by someone else, it's not you. It's just something that's growing in your garden that doesn't belong.
That leads into this amazing story about Olivia. She was using her hormones as a shield. She'd say, "It's just my hormones, it's natural," to defend herself against being called a slut or nymphomaniac.
Oof. The shame weeds are aggressive.
They are. And the brilliant thing is that once she embraced the all the same parts idea, she didn't need the shield anymore. The shield was actually keeping her isolated. The science, the actual biological reality, connected her back to the human continuum.
It moved her from, I'm a freakish exception, to, I'm a unique variation.
Which brings us to the too long didn't read at the end of the chapter, which honestly is a great summary for anyone who's like me and needs the highlights.
Hey, I love a good summary.
If you're experiencing pain, see a doctor. If not, you're normal. Also, porn is digitally altered to look tucked in, don't believe the hype. And finally, knowing where your clitoris is power.
I love that. Knowing where it is power. It's anatomy as agency. It's taking back the map of your own territory.
That is a heavy way to end the chapter.
But it's setting us up for the real heavy hitter. Because she's about to move from the garden to the engine.
And the engine is the brain. Specifically, the dual control model.
And here comes the drama. We meet Lori.
Poor Lori. She's in this loop of maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm depressed, maybe I'm broken. She thinks her sex life died with her child.
That broken part. That's the most dangerous word in the whole book.
No, it's that the brakes are being slammed on so hard that the accelerator can't even move the car.
And she's hiding it from him because she's afraid he'll be, what? Unhappy?
She's afraid to prove she's broken as a partner. But then she hears the concept. The accelerator and the brakes.
This is the moment the entire software update starts to make sense. It's not that the engine is dead, it's that the brakes are being slammed on.
All right, I think we need to pause here. We've gone from mirrors to gardens to brakes. My brain needs a second to catch up.
Mine too. Let's grab some water. We'll be back to talk about the brakes in a minute.
Okay, we're back, and I think we need to shift gears from the garden metaphor into something a bit more clinical, a bit more lab coat and clipboard.
Please, I've had enough nature for one day. Let's get into the science.
All right, because Emily is taking us back in time, way back. She sets the even in 1964. Imagine you're a researcher at Washington University in St. Louis. You're working with the legends, Masters and Johnson.
Oh man, I can see it now. Retro lab coats, heavy machinery, and... Wait, what was the recruitment method?
It was intense. She says they were basically posting want ads in the local paper. They were looking for ordinary people who were willing to come into the lab, hook themselves up to machines that measure heart rate, blood pressure, and genital response, all while the scientists are right there watching.
For science. That is the best excuse for being incredibly awkward.
It's systematic, Jane, and awkward. She walks us through the protocol. You show up, they take your medical history, they check your physicals, and then this is the part that makes you want to hide under the table. The next time you come in, you practice having an orgasm in the lab, first alone, and then with the research team in the room.
No. That is a level of vulnerability I am not prepared for. I wouldn't even want a stranger watching me eat a sandwich.
But they did it. And because they were measuring everything, they could map out exactly what was even happening. She breaks down the 4-phase model they created. It starts with excitement. Heart rate goes up, blood pressure spikes, and the labia and clitoris swell and darken.
The physical hardware reacting to the stimulus.
Exactly. Then plateau. This is where things get really visceral. The vagina tense around the cervix. The clitoris actually retracts inward, and you get sex flush, this redness over the chest. And then orgasm, the sudden release of all that accumulated tension through involuntary muscle contractions.
And finally, resolution, where everything just returns to baseline. The heart rate drops, the swelling goes down. It's a beautiful closed loop of physiological data.
It sounds like a perfect little machine. Everything goes up, everything comes down. Very efficient.
And for a long time, that was the foundation of everything. If you had a problem like anorgasmia or premature ejaculation, this model gave you a way to fix the mechanics.
But there was a glitch in the machine.
There was, and it came from a psychotherapist named Helen Singer Kaplan in the 1970s. She was looking at all these patients who were successfully treated by the 4-phase model, but there was one group that just wasn't responding.
Let me guess. The broken group?
The group that lacked interest. Kaplan realized the massive oversight. The original model completely ignored desire.
And it makes total sense if you think about the context. If you're in a lab in 1964 and you've recruited someone specifically to masturbate for a study, they don't need to feel desire. They just need to respond to the equipment.
The software was missing because the hardware was being tested in a vacuum.
Right. So Kaplan adapted it. She created the triphasic model. She added desire as the first phase, this appetite for sex, like hunger or thirst. Then she merged excitement and plateau into arousal and ended with orgasm.
So she moved it from the lab to the real world. From doing the task to wanting the thing.
And for decades, that was the gold standard. It was even in the DSM's big diagnostic manual. You could have problematic desire or problematic arousal. It gave doctors a way to categorize people.
But we're back to the software update idea. Because even with Kaplan's model, we were still just looking at the phases. We weren't looking at the control.
Precisely. We fast forward 2 decades to the Kinsey Institute. This is where it gets revolutionary. A pair of researchers, Janssen and Bancroft, proposed the dual control model.
The accelerator and the brakes. I knew we were getting to the good part.
This is the aha moment. They realized that sexual response isn't just a sequence of events, it's a brain mechanism. Your central nervous system is a series of partnerships between an accelerator, the sympathetic nervous system, and brakes, the parasympathetic nervous system.
And they applied that to sex. Your brain is constantly weighing sex-related stimuli against potential threats.
So, the broken feeling we talked about earlier with Lori? It's not that the engine is dead.
No, it's that the brakes are being slammed on so hard that the accelerator can't even move the car.
That changes everything. It's not a lack of something, it's an excess of something else.
Exactly. And the most incredible part? While men might have more sensitive accelerators and women might have more sensitive brakes, the variation within the groups is massive. It's not a men versus women thing. It's an individual sensitivity thing.
So if we can figure out what's hitting the brakes, we can actually start the update.
That is exactly where we're heading. Next time, we're looking at the threats. What on earth makes our brains decide to hit the brakes?
I'll bring the toolkit. Let's see if we can find the brake lever.
All right, my brain is officially fried from all this physiological terminology. Let's take 5.
Agreed. I need to find my glasses anyway.